Hi, welcome to the Lightside Podcast. My name is Charlotte. I'm your host. I'm a certified transformation and mindset coach, a creator, writer, and registered yoga teacher, and former corporate vice president, where I spent over 12 years in product and program management, working in operations and strategy. I won't bore you with my whole story, but you can check out my Instagram where you can find my story through and through. I'm so very grateful that you're here, and let's dive into today's topic. In this episode, we're going to talk about what it means to be magnetic, why it's important, and practical steps you can take to develop this powerful quality that is really an energy. So whether you're looking to attract more or better opportunities, you're looking to build stronger relationships, or just feel more confident in your skin, this episode is for you. I'm really excited to get into it. We have to know where we're at in order to get to where we want to go. And that's why it's so important to really understand magnetic energy. Really what the key traits of magnetic people are, so that we can envision that for ourselves and take the steps necessary to become that, to embody more of that. It's important for us to have a clear vision of the highest timeline of our lives to be the best version of ourselves, what that really means, what that really takes. Really, so knowing these traits allows us to become familiar for us to get to that next level, to up level, but also what traits we need to unlearn and disassociate with and to stop doing in order to move our lives forward and really live to our highest potential. So what does it mean to be magnetic? I think it's about having a certain type of presence and energy that draws people and opportunities to you. It's about our level of confidence and our authenticity and having a positive mindset. And so being magnetic isn't just about being attractive or being externally attractive, so to speak. It's about the energy you project from within yourself. And so thinking about that as the definition of what it means to be magnetic really also highlights the importance of it. And really the benefit of being magnetic is that when you embody magnetic energy, you can attract positive people and experiences into your life with ease. It really enhances your personal and professional life experience by improving your relationships. It boosts your confidence and opens doors for more opportunities. I think while I was trying to think about the traits that I wanted to share on this episode, what kept resounding, what kept coming up as like a resounding yes was authenticity, right? Like magnetic people are typically very authentic and sincere, which helps build this level of trust and connection with others that makes them more of a magnet for really good experiences. There's a level of confidence and enthusiasm and ability to engage with others as a result too. I think about being magnetic or someone being super magnetic and in flow. Taylor Swift comes to mind, right? She is on such a high flying disc. There's so many people out there who are very magnetic, and you can look at them for evidence as far as how life works out for them, how things fall into ease and flow so seamlessly. Let that be an inspiration of, wow, that person proves that I can do that too. I can have that too. And truly, in a world where we're super connected in social media on a digital level, it helps to curate our feeds to seeing things and people that inspire us, that inspire our energy to, like, there's so much influence. We want positive influences, right? And so I think being magnetic also involves having a super positive mindset, because from your positive mindset, you attract more of the same too. A natural byproduct of doing so much personal growth and development work is that you get to become more magnetic. And so let's go into the key traits of magnetic people so that you can identify and maybe pinpoint who in your life you're seeing as magnetic. including yourself, right? Your family, your friends. And it helps to know, and you can surround yourself with more magnetic people. We'll share tips on how you can become more magnetic, and let's get into it. Diving into traits of magnetic people. Number one starts with being intentional. People that are magnetic are very clear in their actions and decisions. They have a purpose, they're purpose driven, and so they know what they want, and they align their choices and the actions they want to take with their values and goals, so that everything they're doing is really building upon what their ultimate goals and outcomes are. And so, first and foremost, being intentional, being purpose driven, being very clear about what you want is very attractive. One, it aligns you with things that you want to call into your life experience because you're clear about it. But also, it makes others want to be around you too, because knowing what you want is a very light energy, right? There isn't so much flip-flopping and or changing courses, changing directions. So I think number one is like being very clear and intentional and purposeful is really, really big. Number two is having a genuine presence that is authentic. I think authenticity and being our true selves is so powerful. I think you hear about it more now than ever. And I think the ability to be fully authentic comes hand in hand with being really present and fully engaged. I think magnetic people do an incredible job of active listening and making others feel heard and valued. And I'm sure you all have someone that could come to mind that is a great listener that you might think about when you think of somebody who is embodying these traits so far. And, I'm sure you love being around them because that energy is very attractive. That level of presence attracts and brings about opportunities. Like when I think about my life and how I was able to succeed in my corporate career, it had a lot to do with my presence. I was fully engaged with the work that I was doing, and that level of engagement and presence, one, allowed me to be very engaged in conversations. I was able to share ideas. I was able to really voice my opinion on a process, suggest improvements. And as a result, I attracted a lot of opportunities within the firm. As you may know already about me, I got promoted year after year, and I was always tapped into working on new projects, bigger projects. I worked on many teams for my career. It was exceptionally high. I worked in 7 or 8 different teams. And again, that's quite a lot for one firm. And so I think a lot of that had to do with my ability to be super present. And honestly, writing these qualities down made me realize one of the things I'm always working towards is improving myself, my energy, on this inner growth journey. I am aspiring to be more magnetic, and I guess it's fun to see that I have made movement, I have made progress. And so if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, well, I have a really hard time being super present. Well, these are traits you can build on. It's not a fact. Like if you remember from prior episodes, especially referring to the growth mindset episode, this is something you can build upon. And we talk about this a lot throughout the series of this podcast. And the other thing that I want to mention is when it comes to being authentic and providing our genuine presence to others, that is the best, most incredible gift we can give to someone else. The gift of our presence is so healing. As human beings, we have a need for connection and energy and sharing our energy with others. And to be able to share our energy with someone who's genuinely there, present, and authentic with us is such a gift. And I'm sure if you think about it yourself, think about when you're with someone that you adore and them being there with you fully, not on their phone, not scrolling, not texting and talking to you at the same time, but fully present with you, engaged, eye to eye, face to face, not facing away from you, not looking around, not looking away, but just genuinely connecting with you. that level of presence is so incredibly valuable. And gifting others that is like speaking to the universe and opening your arms for more people, for more opportunities to come into your life, because you are experiencing this one opportunity in front of you now with your fullest presence, with your unconditional love. And I think that's what a lot of this comes down to, is our ability to showcase unconditional love more and more in our daily lives, in our interactions with others, in just that simple act of being present and just listening and being with whoever it is you're with, whether it's your mother to your children, colleagues, friends, whoever it is that you are, a client, whoever it is that you're with, it makes the world of a difference. And I feel like personally for me, when one of my love languages is quality time, and that includes this authentic, genuine presence, like the ability to just spend time is so valuable and important to me. And being able to give that to others is really, really powerful and makes you even a greater magnet for opportunities and people. Number 3 is being willing to learn from other people and having a growth mindset. I think being willing to learn also requires being a really good listener. I do suggest listening to the growth mindset episode on the deep how-to on how to have a growth mindset. But really, having a growth mindset means you're curious, you're open to new experiences. You don't think that the past is a predictor of the future. On whether or not you did bad on something in the past doesn't mean that you are indefinitely that way or that it's a fact. It's just that you haven't built that skill yet, that you are still working on it. It's like having this mindset that we're always growing, that we're always learning. And that energy is so inspirational to be around. And other people really want to be around you. It's fun to learn. It is fun to evolve. It's fun to grow. But once we're willing to get past that threshold of discomfort, right? There's always discomfort at first until we get comfortable with the uncomfortable, and we accept that, hey, part of life, part of growing and living life to its full potential is knowing that we're constantly in this influx and this growing and this learning, evolving stage. And so understanding that, for one, we're not perfect. Magnetic individuals understand, people that embody magnetism really understand that they're not perfect. And challenges are opportunities. Challenges are opportunities to learn, to grow, to get better. And being open to learn and evolve just sets us up to learn and evolve that much more, right? Like, it's a process of shedding, growing, learning, observing, and just doing it over and over again. And so really, magnetic people value other people's perspectives and see learning as a lifelong thing. It's a lifelong journey. And being so open to learning and hearing from others and asking others for opinion and tapping into what may be their blind spot by learning something that someone else may be better. I think that's the beauty of being human. There are certain things we really excel at and other things that may be a learning curve, and others may be flip-flopped on that. And we have the ability to tap into others' knowledge and wisdom and what they excel at to learn from them and also become excellent at that. And so really having this ability to learn from others makes magnetic people even more approachable, more respected, more of a magnet for more opportunities, right? It's like, I think the way I see a magnetic person, the more we talk about this, is just like that whole theme of being authentic and unconditional just keeps coming to mind, because it's like you are showcasing to the universe, I'm wide open. And in order to show to the universe you're wide open requires us to have a growth mindset. It requires us to have the ability to be adaptable, to be approachable. And we can really affirm that through our actions and the way we behave and show up with other people. I think one of the basic premises is that we're always shedding, we're growing, we're peeling the layers and becoming more of who we are. And we do that so that we can return to the truth of our being, which is pure love, unconditional love. And the next trait of a magnetic person is being responsive over reactive, being able to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting with impulsivity, like being impulsive in reacting. It shows like there's a level of maturity and growth and really self-control that's required, and that's super appealing. People want to be around people who will think before they respond, or people that aren't continuously apologizing for things they said that they shouldn't have said. I mean, honestly and truly, as someone who dealt with a lot of impulsivity, like I was very impulsive, and what has helped me a ton is mindfulness, meditating, and this takes practice. I want to make sure that what's clear here is that yes, this may come really easy to some people, but if it doesn't come easy to you, there are practices you can do. There are things you can do to improve on it and bounce back and really improve in this. It's not just like, oh, I don't have this and I'll never have this. Like, it is what it is. That is not the case. You can improve on this, and I'll share in the tips portion of the episode. And then number 5 is being comfortable with vulnerability, embracing vulnerability as a sign of strength. I think being vulnerable and showing your true self, you create space for others to also be true and authentic and vulnerable. And it results in having a lot more authentic connections that are comfortable and open and really healing. Again, like when you are vulnerable, when you're able to expose your deepest fears, your deepest struggles, or just speak your truth with clarity and honesty and integrity, it is felt. I think the human senses are able to pick up on lies and versus truth. We're able to pick up on inauthenticity versus authenticity. It's like one of our hidden superpowers. And the more you're able to express your opinion, yourself, who you are, openly and honestly, others respect you more. One of my favorite quotes of all time is, the way out is through. By being vulnerable, that is our way out through it. It's by facing the fear. It's by facing, exposure therapy is a very big thing for a reason, because it helps us see that, okay, like if I do X, I get to Y. You can rationalize our fears. We can think through what we'll do. And as a result, like reduce how much it impacts us. And number 6 is being okay not being liked. And really ties into being vulnerable. They're confident in who they are and understand that not everyone will like them. If you're not willing to change who you are because you don't have the fear of not being liked, you become unstoppable, really. This is, I believe, like the next level of self-lovery and just being very secure in ourselves requires us to be okay and to accept the fact that not everyone is going to like us. Not everyone is going to be happy with what we do, with what we create, with who we are. And that's okay. It's not our full-time job to make sure that, it's not our job at all to make sure that everyone likes us. I know there's a book out there on this that is on my reading list I have not gotten to yet. The Courage to be Disliked, I believe. Hopefully I'm not butchering it. But people that are magnetic are super confident in who they are and understand that not everyone will like them. And that's okay. We're not meant to be liked by every single person. And by keeping true to ourselves, by staying true to ourselves, despite if people like us or not, is very, very attractive, because you then attract your people, your tribe. If you spend so much time trying to modify who you are to be liked by people, you're going to be liked by the wrong people because they're not your people if you have to change who you are. And if you think about it this way, like the people that you love in your life, you wouldn't want them to be different, right? If they started behaving differently or acting a certain way, they wouldn't be who they are. Like, we are uniquely as we are. And everything makes us that much more specially us. And so by diminishing or doing things to be like, it's like going on a downward spiral because it'll never be enough. And what we find ourselves doing is bending ourselves backwards, making people who weren't really aligned with us to begin with happy, and as a result, not making ourselves happy. The people that are meant to be in your lives that will like you for who you are. You do not need to change that. And so being yourself, honestly and truly and authentically, despite whether people like you or not, amidst this level of confidence that brings in your tribe, your people that love you as you are, and they don't expect you to be any certain way. And again, accepting the truth that not everyone will like you because we all have different preferences, we all have different interests, and that's okay. There's a reason why there is 9 billion of us, right? And some of the other traits are like positive energy, radiating this enthusiasm that is uplifting. Others want to be around them because the energy is so feel good, it's motivating, it's cheery, it radiates positivity. And I understand that, this is not to promote toxic positivity, right? Like, we all go through bad days, we all go through days of not feeling great, but there is this underlying positivity that comes with someone who truly believes in abundance, who truly believes in our oneness, who truly believes in their goals and intentions and their purpose and being authentic. And despite how bad someone's day might be, they still exude a sense of positivity and enthusiasm for life. And I think that is such an unstoppable energy. And a lot of that energy, I truly believe, is fueled by gratitude and having a gratitude practice, having appreciation in our lives for the small things, for the little things, because our thankfulness, our gratitude attracts more of that. What we focus on grows. And so focusing on the things that we love, the sun shining, the trees swaying, the wind, the fresh water that we have, your favorite tea, the nice compliment your boss made, whatever it might be, focusing on what you appreciate about someone, your employee being on time, the person you're working with, like doing an above and beyond job, like noticing all the things that people are doing that are going well and giving thanks for it attracts more of those experiences into your life and makes your life more magnetic, more in flow, more in alignment with positivity. It's like, for me, the way I love to think about it and the way it clicks in my mind is that the world is a mirror. It's always as within, so without. So if I want to experience positivity, do I have that energy within me? The best way to know if something is not on track in our lives, or if the world is like showing a lot of misalignments, a lot of missed stuff, a lot of unfortunate events happening, that's the world showing us that something is off in our energy and that we need to look within. Because the truest sign in my mind of being in alignment and in flow is when things are in synchronicity, things are flowing. You're not, of course, we have to show up and have action and effort, but it doesn't require so much energy where you feel drained. And I feel like that's another sure sign when you're feeling drained and feeling like your energy's leaking. And so the world is always showing to us what's going on within us because it's mirroring back to us. And so, I want to encourage you to think about these traits, and I want to add a couple more. I think like people who are magnetic have a level of flexibility to them that, they're not fixed on anything. They're not super rigid. Like, things don't have to be black or white. Like, things don't have to be a certain way in order for us to be happy. Like, magnetic people don't need people to show up a certain way in order for them to be happy. They're open, they're flexible, they're adaptable. They believe and know that they cannot control other people's actions. They can only control their behavior. That's why they respond versus react. And their ability to stay calm and composed is admirable. and it brings more people to them. It brings opportunities to them, because when you see that someone is able to adapt to change, is able to adapt to situations with ease and flexibility, and maybe stay calm under pressure in tough situations, you want to give them more opportunities, right? Like, you want them to be on your team. You want to be around them. You want to see them. You want them on your side. And like, think about it. Who are the people that you want to be with when times are really tough, right? And ask yourself, am I one of those people? Am I able to show up? Am I able to be reliable? Am I able to help others? Am I able to help myself first and foremost? Like, being able to help ourselves, then we're able to help others too. And like, having this level of humility and I think we talked about earlier is that like, there's a level of confidence that magnetic people have, but that confidence is also humble. It's grounded, because everyone has value. Every single person brings value, has their own unique talents, and also their passions that they have worked on and developed. And so, despite how much they may value their own strengths and accomplishments and what they bring to the table, they also view that others do the same. And again, like, having that level of openness and open-mindedness towards other people and the gift that they are makes them more magnetic too, because you want to be around that person. If you meet someone who is present with you, who wants to listen to what you have to say, who is willing to listen and respond over just reacting to triggers, who is able to be open with you and vulnerable with you and share their truth with you with authenticity, and is willing to have a growth mindset and not budge who they are for who you expect them to be. They just are as they are, and they have this empathy and level of understanding and positivity to them. Not only do you trust them, not only do you feel like you have a strong connection with them because they're able to open up to you, but you want to be around them more, right? This is like someone who people gravitate to. It's like people feel included around this person who has magnetic energy. People feel open to share with them because they're vulnerable. People are willing to be vulnerable with them too. And this energy is inspiring. It is like an energy of true leadership. Honestly, I think like in the business world, this is the energy of a great manager as well, because people want to follow this type of person in terms of their vision, what they want for the company, what they want them to do on a day-to-day basis, like what the goals are, what the objectives are, and being aligned with that. And I think there is true power to being magnetic and making others feel seen, making others feel heard, and making them feel meaningful. Again, like if someone sits with you and is able to fully listen and be authentic, vulnerable, and open-minded with you, willing to learn from you, willing to hear your opinions, willing to stay true to themselves at the same time and share their opinions with you, I think that person would really make you feel important. And I think that is the type of person that also attracts a lot of great opportunities with that beautiful energy. It's very attractive, it's compelling, and it naturally draws people towards you. There's like a level of influence that comes with this type of behavior that is almost unspoken. And I think it's not spoken about enough. There is like so much to be said about it. Okay, so let's talk about how to become more of this. And so we always drum roll. If you've listened to other episodes, you may guess what I'm about to say. Number one is always awareness. Awareness is the first step to making any change. And so really starting by understanding yourself, getting to know yourself better. What are your likes? What are your values? What are your strengths? What are you really good at? What do you need to work on? What is your perspective on you? In order to get to where you want to be, you need to know where you are first in order to find the path there, right? Like it's important to know where you are and where you want to be, because otherwise we're pretty much aimless, right? And that also requires more of this reflection. These are the attributes, traits that I want to embody more of. And this is where I'm at. Through that, step 2 is setting clear intentions, being clear about what you want to get to. What is the life you want to create? Align your actions with that. Aligning your actions and decisions with your intentions gives you the direction and purpose that you want. And being clear about what you want to get to, the life that you want to create, the experiences you want to have, and then aligning your actions with them. Really having intentionality gives you direction and purpose. And again, it helps you be that person that is able to then align their goals and objectives with their actions, right? And the decisions. And I'll share a quick example. Like, I started creating and posting on social media many years ago. In hindsight, what I realized is that I didn't spend too much time setting clear intentions about the type of content I wanted to create, who I wanted to reach. Had I had a more clear intention at the onset about the type of people I want to reach, who's my audience, who's in my niche, who can I actually tangibly help, and really create my content to tailor to that audience that they would be interested in and curious about, that would help add value to them, then all my actions would be setting me up for being more magnetic and to be more successful, really. And so being really clear about our intentions, about where we want to get to, and then choosing actions and making decisions based on where we want to get really is a recipe for success. If you're around someone who has clear intentions, you'll see that their energy is so soothing to be around because they're not chaotic. It allows us to turn off our fight or flight response. Like, it allows us to feel calm around them. And that level of purpose is almost contagious. And I think that inspires others to also want to be purposeful and to take actions that are supporting their purpose. Number 3, I want to say, is to practice mindfulness and emotional regulation. So the need to respond versus react. And the best way to really build that muscle is to practice mindfulness and to create the habit of pausing before responding. I think that is just critical in order to get to that place. Practicing mindfulness is how we learn to create space. As someone who used to really rush to respond, I was a super quick, super hasty. Oh my goodness, I would fire up an email, and really by practicing meditation and mindfulness and breath work, I've learned to take a pause, take a step back. And I can say from firsthand experience that the first few times you may slip. You may only be able to practice the patience for 2 seconds. The more you practice, you notice that 2 seconds grow to 3, 5, 8, 10, 30, 1 minute. Oh my goodness, like, you get better. And so practicing this level of mindfulness, and you're creating this habit of pausing before you react, which really helps you become more aware of your responses and your emotions. And it makes you more magnetic in that people want to be able to have conversations with you. It's important to be able to have difficult conversations. It's important to be able to withstand adversity and challenging situations without losing our cool. And honestly, when I first decided to practice mindfulness in responding, it was hard. It was not easy. It was a big challenge. And so what it required me to do is to remind myself, like, it was number 1, setting that intention to pause was a big game changer, because when you tell your mind, I'm going to pause next time X situation happens, or X time I feel triggered, or X time I feel like I'm about to say something I'm going to regret. If you ask yourself to pause, the first time it might be harder. The second time will be easier. The third time will be easier than that. And eventually you'll get a lot better at it. Allowing other people to speak, like we talked about, being a good listener is one of the attributes of being magnetic. And so practicing mindfulness allows us to be a better listener. When I learned about the qualities of being a good listener, I realized, like, oh wow, I can practice this. And I became a better listener over time. And so just, again, having a growth mindset by knowing that you may not be a good listener yet, but you can be. and that you can work on it is empowering and freeing, because you're not just the way you are, and you can love yourself and allow yourself to be even better. And you can lean into your true inner strength, knowing that you're not just that way indefinitely. Like, you may not have a certain skill yet, but you can grow on it, you can build on it. And so really leaning into your growth mindset and embracing that you can develop certain skills, certain how-tos in order to become more of who you truly are deep within you. You are returning to yourself. You're familiarizing yourself with traits that you have within you that you just need to sharpen. Having the awareness, being very clear through your intentions, practicing mindfulness and regulating your emotions, being vulnerable, sharing your truth with others, being your true self with others is really the best way to create safe space with others and allow them to be more of who they are. And through that, you open yourself up for so many opportunities. When I think about my career, a lot of the roles that I ended up excelling at were roles that people tapped me into. They asked me to do XY role while I was at Goldman. And I think it was because I was so open and all in for the roles that I did have. I was fully present. I was fully engaged. I was very active. I really stepped into my role, and I had a lot of presence in doing my role that others were like, hey, do you want to work with us? And I think that is really, truly the best way of, and I think that is a great way of looking at magnetism, right? Like, you don't have to chase, you don't have to beg, you don't have to make or force things to happen, because a lot of times when we exert too much energy, we create resistance. And so you really become a magnet by embracing who you truly are, by being authentic, by being true. And if you find it hard to practice these attributes, then I think it's a good practice to ask yourself, what is within me holding me back? What's holding me back from expressing this? What's holding me back from being my true self? What are those fears? And really, by allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be brave, and face your fears and really logically think them through. Exposure therapy is one of the most effective ways in order to get over the worst fears that you have, the biggest fears that you have. You work through it. You come out on the other side by facing it. And so becoming magnetic does require us to do a lot of inner growth, a lot of inner work, and not be afraid of our personal growth journey. It is hard. And knowing that it isn't like all butterflies and blue skies makes it so that you manage your expectations. That butterflies is a great expression. Like, in order to become the butterfly and to fly and to be this most beautiful expression of yourself, you have to go through the phases of the caterpillar, the cocoon, and the whole cycle, right? And so being aware of that helps us on our journey of becoming more magnetic. So the other tips include adopting a growth mindset, which if you want to listen to the full episode I did on this, I believe it's episode 26. The last tip that I want to share is number 7, is build confidence. Work on your self-esteem by acknowledging how far you've come, by acknowledging your achievements, your strengths, like really thank yourself for the things that you have done. I think one of the best ways to be magnetic is through your confidence and being able to build self-trust. So practice ways of creating confidence within you by making promises that you keep, by making realistic promises that you keep to yourself. Make a list, like every week, at the end of the week, count your wins, even the smallest wins count, right? Like, for instance, if you're growing a YouTube channel, right, and you got 5 new subscribers, count that as a win. If you were spending time with family and your goal was to be present, count that as a win. If you were making outreaches to new clients, if you reached out to 12 people, whether or not they responded, count that as a win. Really celebrate your wins by encouraging yourself to be appreciative and grateful for yourself, for your actions, for what you showed up to. By doing so, you allow yourself to do more of the same. You psychologically reinforce yourself to do more of the same, and it's really powerful and beautiful. I hope that this episode served you. Remember, becoming more magnetic comes from within you. It doesn't matter what you look like. What I really love is that the entire theme of this episode and really the how to become more magnetic all comes down to being who you truly are deep down within you. It all comes down to being authentic, and that is honestly the easiest way to be. It's like, I feel like it's so much harder to be anyone else, right? And so take the easy route. It's like taking the path of least resistance, as Abraham Hicks says, is really about embracing who we truly are. And so honestly and truly, being a clear, intentional, purposeful person really radiates from within you. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to have a growth mindset, because we're always growing and changing, and your confidence can be built. Just because you don't feel like you're confident yet doesn't mean that you won't be confident. And by doing these things, you can attract positive people and experiences that you want into your life experience. So I'm so excited for you to really embark on this magnetism journey of you, and to become more of who you are destined to be through your self-actualization, through becoming more of who you truly and authentically are, and sharing that with others. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Light Side Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, please follow, leave a review, share your thoughts, share this episode with someone who might benefit from it. And until next time, I'm sending you tons of love. Thank you.